guys? It's your girl Boom, and apparently my favorite franchise is on its deathbed.
F's in the chat. It's gone too soon. Oh.
But that's okay, because I'm here as Surgeon Boomy, one of the most experienced NBA 2K players, to provide life-saving measures to bring 2K back to its former glory.
It's alive!
And we're gonna do that together. In this NBA 2K facelift series, we're gonna talk about gameplay, my career, my team, and all the other quality of life changes that 2K can do in order to bring the franchise back to its former glory. So we're not gonna waste any more time, let's get right to work. For me, the main thing that's plaguing NBA 2K as a franchise on these new gen versions of the game is the very thing that thrusted them over NBA Live last gen. And that's the gameplay. Since 2K21 came out, it seems 2K is struggling to find a balance between the simulation basketball style it's built its brand on and the arcade mechanics that brought the fun factor to the series. At least it was fun for me. It may not be real basketball, but it was surely really fun. In any game franchise, realism is important, especially if you're trying to be a simulation of what happens in real life. But sometimes real life isn't as fun as the arcade NBA Jam, going in 360 dunking, going dribble in between the legs, being able to be a Super Saiyan Goku type NBA 2K player. And that's the fun that carries a franchise throughout its life cycle. The main value that people are missing in this franchise right now is the fun factor throughout the year. None of these 2Ks have been perfect. Matter of fact, we always think the game is trash. But the best 2Ks had that arcade style, fast pace, speed to them. And that's what the new gen version of the game is missing. That allowed us to overlook some of the negative mechanics in NBA 2K16, 19, 20, whichever one is your favorite. The closest thing that we've had to that in new gen was pre-patch NBA 2K22. I said early on into the release cycle that it feels like it's time for the arcade style to return. And with the improvements that are sure to come with the Pro Play technology, I'm hoping 2K can find a way to implement these arcade styles back into the park, either in its own game mode or just in general with the gameplay for 2K25. The ultimate goal for my perfect NBA 2K25 is not to be the most realistic basketball game you ever seen. It's just like the dev Dazar said, the more realistic the basketball game is, the less control the consumer has of its player. And as somebody who wants to have the best gaming experience every single time I turn on NBA 2K, I want to have fun. I want to have control over our players. That's the main thing that we had in the last gen version of the game. We were able to quick stop. We were able to hit peaks and different things that are not necessarily realistic, but are game mechanics that allow for a skill gap within NBA 2K. So the first thing that I want to talk about specifically is the thing that we talked about in the spaces over and over and over for hours on end on Twitter, and that's the dribbling. 2K has done a phenomenal job with Pro Play, implementing a lot of realism. You can come up the court like your favorite player, like Kyrie, Kobe. You can move on defense like Kawhi. And in dribbling, they've added all of these bevies and moves. You have John Morant's play style. You have Tyrese Halliburton, all these different dribble animation and moves. And yet, every single game, I'm watching people, Jamal Murray behind the back over and over again, then tween cross with John Wall. How many times are you going Jamal Murray, bro? Please let me know. Like Jamal Murray, here you go. I'm sick of it. I literally started playing my team this year because I got so bored with watching people do the same dribble moves over and over and over again. And why is that? Why don't we see variety in NBA 2K24? It's because the game is so animation based. It has turned into looking online the first day the game comes out and looking up a Joe Knows Tiller Double H video and finding what the best animations are in the game for dribbling the fastest. That's what we want, which then cuts the usable animation pool down to literally 1 to 2 to 3 different animations. So the first change that I want to see for dribbling in NBA 2K25 is 2K adding baseline bursts out of your dribble animations that are tied to specific attributes like acceleration, speed with ball, and ball handle. This would be similar to the system that was implemented in 2K20, where you had tier 1, 2, and 3 accelerations out of moves, depending on whatever category you found yourself in with your build. Again, the name of the game is control. Allow players to freely choose animations based on whatever feels good to them, rather than how fast you move out of that move because of whatever motion style you have equipped. Now, I specifically do not claim to be a dribble head, a dribble god, dribble tween cross. I'm not that. So if you are one of those dribble gods, please comment down below if you think that system will work, or whatever dribble changes you want to see in NBA 2K25 in the franchise moving forward. The second improvement that I want to see when it comes to the dribbling in NBA 2K25 is the era of the dribble god coming back to NBA 2K25. Now I know I was there when we got back from community day and there were people that saw the Donovan Mitchell cross launch into the walk back in the game. They screamed and begged Mike Wang to change and take it out of the game because it isn't quote unquote realistic. But let's be so for real. I know you, I see you watching. I know you're out here playing Warzone and Rebirth Island. You and I both know that slide canceling isn't a real thing, that you don't slide cancel in real life. If you do, you probably would tear your Achilles or have shin splints every day. Why is that game mechanic okay in Call of Duty but not okay in NBA 2K? We love the realistic style of the basketball game, but it's about blending the two realms together. Not everything that's realistic is fun. Not everything that's fun is realistic. So allow the dribble heads in the community to go absolutely insane and use their imagination by chaining moves together. Utilizing skill moves that are only present in NBA 2K like the quick stop, peeks, walk backs, hop shot canceling, freedom to speed burst out of size ups at any point, and any other moves that I'm missing that allows for fluidity within the movement, because it allows the casual base to have something to aspire to, while allowing your best players to showcase the full potential of what you can do in NBA 2K. And I'm not only referencing moves for dribble gods like Steezo or statistics. We also want to see moves available for skill position players like a Black Cobra, who's one of the best post scorers we've seen, or whoever your favorite slashing guard is. It's all about providing control back to the user over movement. Because 2K, I promise you, me doing a step back hesitation to one side is not going to then carry my momentum so far that I'm no longer able to stop and shoot the ball. And 2K, if these mechanics are not something you want to provide in every single game mode for the sake of simulation, at least provide a mode within MyCareer that will allow for these arcade mechanics to be present. Now don't get it twisted. Just because I've been out here talking about adding all these offensive mechanics to the game, don't think I didn't forget about the defense. Defense is my bread and butter. We've said things in the spaces over and over and over again. If everything is OP, nothing is OP. If we're adding all these game skills back to the offensive side of the ball, the defense needs to be able to keep up. So what can 2K do to improve user control on the defensive side of the ball? The first thing is fixing the arrow system. It's there to center a user to whatever person you're guarding. But since basketball is a sport predicated on movement and switches, the delay in responsiveness of that arrow to switch could be the difference between a contest and an open shot. And for me, I believe that's why ghost contests are so prevalent in NBA 2K. That's all. Because if your arrow is not on a person, you do not get a proper contest, even though you're in the vicinity that should allow you to do so. The second way is providing more user control on the defensive side of the ball. 2K has already made strides in this in 2K24, allowing us to use Realistic Ripper to determine which hand we reach at the ball with. However, I want to see that improved upon. I want to be able to use that same type of system to determine which hand I'm going to try to attempt the block with. Same thing goes for the contest. Allow me to determine which hand I want to use to contest the shot, and reward those users who want to use these type of mechanics with a boost. Similar to turning your shot meter off. If I'm using the right stick to defend a person, as opposed to just using square or triangle to steal or block a shot. That takes more skill and effort and therefore should be rewarded as such. The skill gap should be prevalent on the defensive and offensive sides of the ball, not just from the casual to competitive perspective, but also between competitive play. Now, I don't want y'all to take my lock card away. Don't shoot the messenger, but there are some penalties that need to be implemented on defense. When we make mistakes on offense or defense, there needs to be a penalty for that. If I reach and use all of my reaches, I should be completely gassed and beat on the defensive side of the ball. In another way, if I bump an offensive player the entire possession, they should not just miraculously bump off of my body to get to a layup or a three, whatever. Defensive reaction to the ball also needs to be greatly improved. I can't tell you how many times I've plucked the ball out of somebody's hand or tipped the ball out of the passing lane just for the offensive player to instant transmission to the spot where the ball is. If the offensive player gets plucked, there should be a delay in their reaction back to the ball. In addition, the blitzes need to be improved, the plucks need to be reduced. Timing is the name of the game. If I am sitting in a spot and waiting for an offensive player to come to me, I should be rewarded with a blitz steal. But in the same vein, if the offensive player sees I'm sitting to that one side and decides to go the opposite direction, depending on my defensive attributes and speed as opposed to the ball handler's speed and acceleration, I should be beat for an extended period of time. It's the game within the game, the possession-to-possession battles that could use some tweaking in NBA 2K25. I'm going to be way more specific about this topic when we talk about the My Career portion for NBA 2K25. But the main goal is to have counters on each side of the ball and allow the player's skill to determine who wins the battle instead of game mechanics. I'm not sure what happened in NBA 2K24, but passing is utterly broken. I can't tell you how many times my person is throwing the ball out of bounds and decides that the best course of action is to throw it right at the defender's body. Or with my guard who has a 91 pass and I get everybody and their mama to jump in the paint, that I decide to throw the ball right at the person's body. They can jump and get a deflection of my pass. The passing lanes need to be fixed. One of the main issues that no one really talks about is the court size. There is no reason one defender in the corner could guard three positions: a center, the hash, and the corner. No defender on planet Earth is that good in the NBA. Therefore, 2K has to either make the court bigger or make the player model smaller to allow for better spacing on the court. Now, I know when you play random rec, it doesn't matter. They're going to run around you and try to set you a pick anyway. But at least allow for when you play with a squad for different play styles, slashing, post scoring to be effective. If I get the ball in the paint, a guard should not be able to double me and then get back to the shooter if I pass it out. Now, I'm about to give y'all a hot take, and I don't care whatever your favorite competitive 2K player tells you. Varied shot timings do not need to be removed from the game. I am sorry. However, they do need to be more consistent. At bare minimum, standstill, off the dribble, and contested shots should be a different timing. As long as the timings are consistent, meaning that one, it should never slow down unless you are dog tired blinking red. And two, at 90% of the time, it's going to speed up to this point, then I'm okay with varied shot timings being in the game. As long as varied shot timings are consistent, the best of the best competitive players will be able to account for that speed up because they know the game down to the frame. They know the game down to the animation, what you can and can't do. They know I crab a person on my left, this is how much my shot is going to speed up. I can account for that and find my release point. As long as that is consistent and they can anticipate it, there is no reason why varied shot timing should be removed from the game. Those are the things that create a skill gap. There should be a skill gap in what type of shots casual players are able to make and what type of shots competitive players, the best of the best, are able to make. There's no reason why little Timmy from Arkansas should think he's on the same level as a 2K League pro like Cooks or Unguardable. They just make those type of shots. Make them consistent, we won't have no issues. At the end of the day, there isn't one specific way to fix NBA 2K's gameplay. Because within the 2K community, we value different gameplay styles. But with the improvements and suggestions in this video, I feel like the casual and the competitive community can come together and enjoy the NBA 2K25 all cycle long. Don't agree with me? That's okay. Let me know in the comments. That's what this video is for us to have an open discussion about gameplay improvements that we want to see for NBA 2K25. So comment down below what your changes would be for the gameplay. According to y'all, NBA 2K is not on its deathbed just because of gameplay. So why don't you hit that subscribe button? Because in the next video, we're gonna talk about one of the game modes that has people up in arms, and that's my team. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss out on that. Either way, I've been your girl Boomy. You can find me on all socials under BOOMBOOM. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.